I see your team in some shambles.
No, my team is not in shambles.
How you mean your team?
This
is the coach that brought your team to the final.
My team is not in shambles, bro. First of all, there is a situation taking place with the team, but you can't see the team in shambles until you see them play and they're playing shit.
But this is the coach that brought them to the finals.
You see, how much baskets Ime Udoka score?
Probably none.
Right.
Well, none. But
right. Not probably none.
Yeah,
none,
but he put together the team and inspired the team.
Okay. That is, our coach plays a role, right? But I saw a season where Steve Kerr couldn't coach the side because of his back. And his side winning percentage didn't drop. So, if it is now, what I would say, firstly, is that one of the main reasons I'm not so worried about this is that when the Celtics crumbled in the finals, and as a matter of fact, every time they blew big leads in games, one of the issues that I always pointed out is that they looked like they were not being coached.
Right, yeah. I know you said that, yeah.
I've said that 1,000 times, and that I've always held him responsible for that. When I see the team begin to play hero ball, it's not working, and you are the sidelines with your arms crossed, nothing's changing, you're calling timeouts, the fellas going back out playing the same shit, right? Jaylen Brown allowing himself to be trapped each and every time he catch the ball. That's coaching. You tell a man, hey, when they get the ball, they're trapping you. First of all, we'll run you off the ball, right? So to get you free in positions on the court where you could do damage, as opposed to where you could get trapped. Don't take the bait to come up onto the 3-point line to collect the ball because they're trapping you there every time you catch the ball. Well, he wasn't. I could see that. He couldn't see that. And so my thing is, I don't know how much they could say his methodology worked. The Celtics had gotten to the finals before without him. Playing essentially the same ball. You know what I mean? It's not like if the Celtics, he implemented some style of ball that was so different from what was there when Brad Stevens was there, right? And when they failed, it looked like they failed because the same thing, the same reason. They constantly turned over the ball because they were careless when they had the ball in their hands and they allowed themselves to be trapped.
Well, that must be teachers to be careless.
And they just kept chucking up trees. And even when it wasn't falling, they kept shooting. So I am not frightened.
Wait, boy, I know. Listen, I know, boy. I know thinking about it. That's the man talent, you know, boy.
Chucking trees?
No. To get you almost to the finish line. Because remember he was engaged to Nia Long.
Yes.
And then finish. The UG finals and like he have a thing. It's probably some degree of trauma he have in his life where he reach almost winning and he's self-sabotage.
Well, I don't know about all that, bro. I don't know about all that. But I know that I don't feel as if his coaching was as... No, obviously, men who know much more about basketball than me, my favorite basketball player of all time, Kevin Garnett, he has a different opinion. He thinks it's going to be a big deal. He thinks it's going to be very tough. It's going to be tough for the Celtics to catch themselves. I think the Celtics won't make it back to the finals this year, but not because of him. I think because the competition in the East has gotten a lot better. I expect Brooklyn to be much better this season. I expect Philadelphia to be better as well. So they may not make it back to the finals, but I don't think the team is going to crumble or be in a shambles because he isn't there. I don't think that is such a... and until we see them play, and if you see this organization and the way they're playing and so on, then that's fine. But until then, don't say the team in a shambles.
Try and get a coach who married now, boy, who made it across the line.
Well, they had one before, Brad Stevens.
Well, right, and it was doing okay. So,
right.
Yeah, next one.
No, but he couldn't get to the finals.
Right? So is it right? Are they get one who freshly married or to get married while...
They should have gotten Kevin Durant. They leave it at that. That's what they should have gotten. That would have gotten them to the finals for damn sure. Ime could have coached them. I could have coached them, and they would have get to the finals with Kevin Durant and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. But yes, you wanted to talk about this because you're interested in the Bacchanal.
Well, I mean, not overly interested. I mean, of course, there's the shit behind the bacchanal where the people talking about the bacchanal. But now, if it's in the Celtics, in his contract to not have relations with any of the staff members, cool. That's fine, right? And he breached that, then okay, he had to face whatever consequence that comes with it. But the question a lot of people are asking is, does the other person, does the woman face any consequence again? And we are now talking about accountability.
One frustrating things about this is that you can't really have an intelligent conversation about it because you don't know the facts. And the Celtics not releasing the facts.
Right. But I think that is our next thing that people are talking about. Why did you release half facts?
Well, people believe that there was some legal reasoning behind that, right? They had to say something. They couldn't leave the insinuation out there that he was having non-consensual relations. Because that's an insinuation that could,
right,
could have some real bad repercussions for him and legal repercussions for them. So they had to say something. But they can't, or they don't want to tell you everything. So they have to leave it at that. Now, it seems more frustrating because once you put the consensual part out there, now you have people saying, but what kind of shit is that? If it's two big people and how he's the only person getting suspended. But because you don't know all the facts. Now, you know who Matt Barnes is?
Yeah.
Right. So he was one of those who came out, fully in defense of Ime Udoka, right? Saying, listen, that shit, if it's two grown people, first of all, that happened in a long time, right? That is not something new to the league. It shouldn't be that. And he was comparing it to the situation with the Phoenix Suns owner, who they recently had some bacchanal with because they did some investigations went in, and he was found to have been engaging in like sexist behavior, racist behavior, that kind of thing, right? So that came out, and that he was suspended from the league for a year. And so they saying to themselves, so what he did and what Ime Udoka did, having a consensual relationship with him, that could never be the same. So he came out in full defense of that. And then about 2 days later, he came back on the internet. He deleted the video and he came back on the internet and said, all right, I jumped out the window without having any facts. I spoke to somebody who's close to the situation I trust. And trust me, it goes a lot more deep than what you're hearing. That's all he go say. He ain't going into that. But it's crazy what's going on in Boston. Those were his words. Right? So it's clear that when he found out what was really going on, to him it didn't seem...
everything seems justified.
Right. Now what he did say is he still don't see what he did on the same level as what the Suns owner did. But he...
But of course, I think it's in these situations, you can determine what the punishment might be. Right? Because people and whatever.
Right. So, it appears that there was part of it was a consensual relationship, but there was some stuff that happened after that wasn't supposed to happen. And nobody knows what it is. Nobody knows for sure. So you can't really have a really sensible conversation about it because we don't know. We don't know what he did. Now, the Celtics did kind of, as you pointed out, they kind of fuck it up by saying something, but not saying everything. But who knows?
And, I mean, is this them doing this, which, I mean, causing a lot of backlash for him, does that give him a fighting chance in court if he has to take them to court?
Well, I mean, ultimately, they have been very careful about what they have said out loud. And it would appear that they have justification to suspend him, right? So I don't think he could appeal that. What he could appeal would have been if they had left it hanging out there that it wasn't a consensual relationship. Then the connotations people would have, developed in the head. He could argue, hey, that's not what I did. And you have people out there feeling that's what I did. But they didn't.
But, I say we had to see how it unfolds because...
I don't think you'll ever find out. That's what people say. I mean, I heard Kendrick Perkins talking and he he said he knows the facts as well, just like Matt Barnes, and he still finds that it didn't. First of all, he said it should still have accountability for the women. He said women. I don't know if he misspoke, but he said there should still be accountability.
Apparently, they say that one woman and then 2 women came out after.
Right. So he said there should still be accountability for the women, and he still find a year suspension is too much. And he being a former Celtic player, you could kind of expect him to know what's going on too, right? He still finds it excessive, but unlike Matt Barnes.
But you heard that they were alleging that it was somebody in a high position in the.
Well, people were saying it is Brad Stevens, who was a former coach. He's now the GM, right? But if you see Brad Stevens' wife, I don't think.
Nah, well, the one I was saying was the head of finance, the CFO, if you want to call it that. Yeah.
Well,
or no, the vice president of finance wife.
Right. Well, the first people insinuating that had to be Brad Stevens, because Brad Stevens, when he delivered the address the day to announce the suspension, he was kind of emotional, right? But I was like, I've seen Brad Stevens' wife. I don't think.
Especially near along, ain't one near along with her.
Yeah, unless he have some sort of no disrespect to Brad Stevens, but his wife looks like who his wife should be in the sense that, and if you know Brad Stevens' history, he wasn't a former player. He's a very nerdy looking white guy. And up until recently, he was just, when I say recently, he became a head coach in the NBA maybe 10 years ago, if so much. And up until then, he was kind of coaching in high school and college, and so he was no superstar. So he had the kind of wife that a guy who a regular kind of guy, and he's older now. So him and the wife are about the same age. I doubt Ime was going through that. You know what I mean? So unless he has some kind of sick fetish or something, I don't think he was going through that. So I heard that first. I didn't hear the CFO or the whatever.
Boy, that's the one that they holding. And well, I'm sure you would have seen the bacchanal with Stephen A. and
the Malika Andrews. But she is the epitome of what we were talking about before, and it's because she listen. I don't even know if she really does that, or she just feels like that is the role she has to play on ESPN as the woman. Because every time she had because it wasn't just Stephen A. Smith she had an issue with. When she was talking to Kendrick Perkins, she did the same thing. When she was talking to Richard Jefferson, she did the same. She just seems like if she is here to insist that nobody hold up women accountable, because she keeps saying that we can't blame the women, and say whoa.
But Stephen A. deals with that dread.
Yeah.
She can say, but the point I'm making in holding one woman accountable, then because apparently a lot of the other women in the office and the admin side
saying you're insinuating if you don't come out and say it, everybody's pointing fingers at me.
At all the rest of us.
Yeah.
So he's saying, well, if you really care about women,
exactly.
you'd want them to say which woman it is, so the other woman will stop getting stressed out.
Yeah, exactly.
You understand? And at that point, she was like,
because she just feels you're just inserting your talking point. I am the defender of women. I am the defender of women. Women. So she's doing it even when it's not even called for, and when Kendrick Perkins was the same thing he was doing, he's just like, listen, if it was consensual and I have no information otherwise, and so I don't understand why there's only one person could be held responsible. And that is when she told him, but Kendrick, we are not here to throw women under the bus. And Kendrick, I'm here to talk about the facts of what went on. You know what I mean? And she said, well, you can't speak without knowing the facts. She's like, no, I know the facts. I know the facts. And I'm saying that I still don't understand why it's just one person to be, but what's she doing that for? You think, I don't know how much of that is a role or how much of that is really her, but it's just all of them feel like, okay, this is the way, this is what you have to say on TV. You know, this is, as a woman on the panel, I must stand up for women, even if what you're doing is not even really standing up for women, or, you know what I mean? You just have to play that role on TV. And I just don't understand why TV had to be like that. Why everybody had to just talk your mind and just have real conversations. Because I'm sure she wouldn't do that in a private conversation.
Right,
if she was talking to them fellas off the air, she just listen to them. Were you here? Oh yeah, boy. Well, if it's the two of them, then
Yeah. But there's pandering to a crowd too.
Because she, as a young female, and she also feels, and I'm sure a lot of other women on ESPN and these sports networks, sports networks feel the same way. They're never sure if they really deserve the job.
Right.
Right? They're not sure if they're there as a kind of diversity hire or they're there because somebody could say, well, you see, we put women in the front or whatever.
And especially she a black woman.
And very young too. She's very young because I think the first time she appeared, she got a big role. She was maybe 19 or 20 or something. I don't know if she finished university, but she's very young. Right? So she's at an age where even a man in sports would have found it difficult, or it would have been a surprise if he got there, at that stage in his career. So she's very young. And she's young and she's black, and she must feel as if I have to assert myself, or else I'll always look like a diversity hire. So she intent on playing this role even when it's not called for. But again, with the Udoka situation, we can't really discuss whether it makes sense or not because we don't know. And we don't know why the other people. There may be reasons why they can't be held accountable because.
Right. But just to make one point from 2 weeks ago, I think it was, because a lot of people were saying, "Near long now, I don't want to know." Near. Or
yes.
That doesn't determine if it get horn.
Yeah.
Or if it get horn or the person stay faithful. This person, because you might find she nice, or you find she popular, you find she whatever. That doesn't determine. As you would say, it could be, boy, that man just greedy and like plenty woman and like Sam, so he eating where he get out there. Or it could be, I would say, Nealong probably ain't have it. She the underneath probably not good. You understand? I don't know.
But the thing is, if that's the case, then just leave her.
I don't know. She might be a good conversationalist. She might be a very good companion. I think that is. I mean, that is a weird conversation. I'll start now, but I think us. I think that is a real thing in us. It has some people who could be real good companions, and might make real sense to develop a family with. But you don't have that connection with them in the bedroom. What do you do? You understand what I'm saying?
Listen. But I hear what you're saying, but I don't think it reaches all the way to me getting engaged with you, unless she proposed to him, which I doubt. So we're going. I don't. I think that's way too deep. It's just. I just get fed up eating pilau every day, so I want pilau and I want burgers and saltfish and you know what I mean. So it just it. Because my thing is, if Nealong is not it, then you shouldn't reach that far. You shouldn't reach the stage of and getting engaged with her. And,
no, I think it could be that this person is a person emotionally. That person is a person, as I say, for companionship to build it, or whatever. But you just go outside and take a dabble because look, even Adam Levine, the bacchanal with him, right? Other than him trying to name his son one of his old bird's name, which is weird. But
that dude seems to be very weird.
Yeah. But his wife was saying, listen, at the end of the day, he never cheated on me.
Yes.
Right? And I think she said that because she knew what he just do otherwise. Yeah. And I think wherever it is they have that makes them.
But it is not that she's just. Have you seen the girl? The girl is. I don't think she's the kind of. She doesn't appear to me to be like she's the good old, the old faithful that you just stay by because that was your high school sweetheart. She was a Victoria's Secrets model, right? He just like Sam.
No, all right.
He just like plenty. He is who he is, so he gets plenty, and he's just not willing to settle with one. It had nothing to do with, well, boy, she's the girl who you think she's the, well, she just stay home and cook.
I don't know.
What, boy, that is, she ain't no different to all them other birds.
That you would.
They might be slightly younger than her. That's the end of the story. So I am not going to, I understand what you're saying, and in some instances, some rare cases, it's really that the person is, or maybe, the sexual flame is out now, but you still had a long-term relationship with the person and you still love the person, but the sexual flame is gone or whatever. But I truly feel if that is the case, you just be real with the people. Be real with the people. If there is true love there, then you would be real with the person.
But I think plenty of times people just be real with people, just to be real with everybody else. When you hear about the situation.
Well, right, and that's probably the case with Adam Levine in the sense that, and that's probably why the woman, the only thing that bothered her was that the world found out that we have this kind of a relationship because we are children, and the children may not know that is what daddy just do.
Right. Yeah.
I may know very well that is what you do, and I do really business, but the children may not have known, and certainly their friends would know, you know. So now everybody gets involved in that. So that's probably what upset her. So in the case of celebrities and or quote unquote high value men, it may be a situation where they have. Where there's an understanding, but the rest of the world don't know. But most individuals who ain't high value men, who ain't, you know, they ain't doing it because boy, they're just so charismatic or rich or whatever that George just keep dropping everywhere. No, they're doing it because they're tired of eating pilau alone. And they want something. It feeds their ego. They feel like still like the conqueror, you know, are still going out there and bargain chicks. However, that to me is I'm far more. I'm ready to believe that a lot faster than I am to believe. Well, no, they have actually the person he's a loving husband or boyfriend and really has a real connection with his significant other. But you know, it's just that girl just missing something, so he had to go out and get. Hey, bullshit, man! Just like to dabble out there. They could get more, so they take more.
Well, as somebody once say, a man is as faithful as his options.
Right, some people say that. Some people say that. And to some extent, I think that's the case with everybody. Yeah, you know, I think, no, it might not be that a man would cheat forever, but I think if you, and women too, I think women might be very well the same way. They only as faithful. Well, maybe not, because women always tend to have options, right? Women always tend to have options. So, and a woman most times, especially, well, unless she's, you know, not that way inclined, most times is looking for more. And especially if she has a loving relationship, she's probably not going outside as readily as a man would, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, man, most men really are as faithful as the options, and it's just a matter of the right person coming and knocking. In most instances, yeah. I don't think there's anybody who. And I'm not saying, as I say, I'm not saying that they will do it forever. I just mean, that wall will fall. That wall will fall if the right people come knocking, especially at the right time. Yeah, that could happen. But I don't think it has anything to do with their significant other.
Right, you think it's all on them.
Yes, okay. Is wherever they're going through at the point in time, the ego need a stroking, or, you know, well, other things might need stroking too, but you know what I mean? Yeah, I think that is what it is.